where is the gap? The field of the industry works on real estate. So the gap is in legal, financial, and in technical areas. Guys who understand math don't understand titles. Guys who understand titles, they don't understand deal structure. People who understand deal structure, they don't understand the genesis of the structure in terms of how to collaborate all these together to form something called as the discipline of land. So that brings us to you need education. There are no institutes, colleges or universities that probably are giving a customized land education, especially in India. You might have bits and pieces. So when it comes to an academia setup, when it comes to an academia setup is concerned, let's say for example a college university or a private university, the structure is academic, but if the person is not from the industry, there is a mismatch of understanding. That is the current scenario with most of the institutes at this point of time in India. There are exceptions. One probably there are institutes here in Gujarat, since we speak about where the institutes are made by developers and run by developers. So therefore, the output, the call to action of output is far more greater in the institute of this kind. But the numbers are small. Let's get to the number aspect to understand things a little more in perspective.
They're using my hotspot, so keep my.
So there's an overall shortage about 2 million
they're using
plus,
my hotspot. Just keep this one to you.
which is
I'll take it from
expected
you.
to double in 3 years, maybe more. This is a report that Redcoat launched.
I use my WhatsApp.
And
मेरा phone पर सबके पास है.
अरे मेरा
if you understand land in perspective, so land is an immovable commodity. It stays where it stays. It doesn't move anywhere. Unlike gold or cash or stores, you take it and you keep it in your immovable commodity. It stands where it stands. So what are you buying? You're buying titles. So it's a business of title. It's a business of documents. Both the cases. There are very less professionals who understand the legal aspect of land. There are even more fewer lesser people who understand that it's a business, it's a transaction, it's an understanding of titles. The gap is big. Therefore, people from the real estate and people, the actual actors who are in the process of acquiring land, the pile-up is big, the delay is big. The industry suffers. Again, there are once you acquire land, there's something called as a survey. You do survey or an 11E of that. We lack. India lacks technicians. India lacks. So there is an initiative from the government of India called the Naksha program. The program is good. The program is implemented. There is shortage of drone survey mappers. In India. So again, even if there are government policies in structure, at an implementation level, the gap exists. There are valuation. Now there's another critical aspect of valuation. Very few people understand how do you value land. It is not a traditional or a general way of understanding how land is computed. There are other factors as well, and it is not generic. It is specific. Here in land, specific is terrific. That's how it works. But what is the percentage of people that understand feudal land? Of course, then you have monetization or use planning or development or deal structuring, or probably if I have an AIF, so how do you create waterfall calculation? All of those structure is a large gap. There is a large gap. We spoke about the gaps. The gaps are in legal, the gaps are in technical, the gaps are in financial, the gaps are in systematic, even the gaps are in the gap. So a lot of universities or industry or institutes that I'm a part of, I see the academy structure is good. If we speak about the structure of the academy, the content of the and the knowledge of the faculty of the board is a little below. Only only for the simple fact, this is not a business, this is not a subject. If you're not from the business, you'll be able to translate those gaps and those blind spots that are needed to understand if you succeed and be successful into the business of land and as a subject of land. What should education program offer? In my view, it should offer stackable credentials, short-term certificate programs. It should offer industry correlated curriculum. Content should be specifically designed only and only by industry experts because they understand the dynamics of that local territory, so they understand what are the government policies. So a Maharashtra land revenue code would be different to probably a Gujarat land revenue code. So though there are policies existing both sides, but the capping, the schemes, the compensation frameworks, the process, the taxation, they differ. There should be work integrated learning, there should be capsule projects that are needed for people to really go, or learners to really go into due diligence or probably surveys or probably fix a financial structural problem of an organization. There should be better delivery, and all of this should be endorsed by government bodies so that it has value for people to look for alternate careers. When we were growing and we were young, so there were careers in the form of doctors and engineers and lawyers and advocates and barristers. The next generation came, and now there are data scientists, data engineers, digital marketing, the chartered accountants, and all of those people. We should definitely take land as one of the careers. It can define the future of how India is going to shape. We are an aggregated economy. Land persists, land is real, land is dynamic, land is absolute. It will always stay. So if the structure of the land is permanent, it is important for all of us to be aware of such a wonderful commodity that lies, and that could be definitely taken as a career option. Of course, the objective of probably the gathering together and speaking about this is we found a gap that exists probably at the academia level, or probably at the university level, probably at the industry level, probably at the end consumer level. So if there is a gap, there are communication, there are collaborations of these kind. We are discussing that itself is a solution to the problem. A lot of people probably from the audience will awaken to something of this kind and will probably consider this as a year to take it ahead. You can have a certificate in land, just continuing going ahead with what some of the suggested education program in terms of where the lack is and where the gap is. You can have land legal practice for them. As I opened up, it's a business of documents. So if you have to understand documents, you understand law. It's a law-centric commodity. So as you understand law, as you understand practice, you go good about it. So some of the modules or delivery or assessment could be based on this. Just hurrying up because the moderator is having a bigger eye because of just crossing the time. So bear with me. Yeah, a very big gap lies in surveying, especially with GNS and RTK kind of thing. We need labs and incubation centers for drone mapping demos and GIS projects. Very critical as the modern India is now getting digitized under the DLRMP program. It is mandatory for people, for the policy to practice. In implementation, we need hands that is going to do and implement at the ground level. The gap is huge. The system is good. I see a lot of positive and progress when it comes to the governance of Indian ecosystem, land ecosystem is concerned. The objective is the faster we can resolve this into action, the better the results and the better the objectives that will follow. Where this would come greatly into action is, in my view, is in the tier 2 and the tier 3 and the tier 4 cities of India. Here the literacy is even more down. Women, they share in land, the succession acts, the power that they have when it comes to they taking their land. Small things, just as an acronym, for example, if you are aware about your rights, if there is an awareness at smaller, you will be in power. You will empower structures which will be good for your own family and for your own lives. When it comes to asset and wealth management is concerned. Yeah. Another aspect, program in land finance and valuation, very, very important to understand. So the modern structures of today's time, reads and the inbuilts in the land pooling, and some of the risk modeling assessment that needs structuralization and probably reflections. Some of the institutes in India are doing that. I don't know how successful they are in execution. But yes, there is a thought that probably lies in terms of framing those structures which creates value when it comes to the understanding the mathematical matrix of land in another scenario. What should be the approaches that probably should be there? It should be case-based from real-world projects. We can have workshops. We can have simulations. The outcomes would be rather greater improvement in decision making and strategic planning. This should be continuous. This is an evolving subject where the foundations are the structures, policies, and framework. But as you dive into this has many layers. Land has many layers to it. You see a land from all sides. It will show you something different. The character of the land keeps on changing from different sides that you see at that point of time in terms of how you are using that land. So it's important to understand those aspects of land when it comes to training. So therefore the training has to be continuous. Of course, it has to be, if the programs are credentialized, it will add value to the entire structure. Role of private organizations shape and fuel the entire economy because they have the resource, they have the expertise, they have the knowledge, they have the local market intelligence which is necessary. You get somebody from Maharashtra or Mumbai or Karnataka or Bangalore or Chennai or Hyderabad and you tell them about GSRDC laws and probably how the working of Gujarat, probably from a southern to a context to probably some of the other parts of Gujarat is, he will not have an isolation of number that probably goes when it comes to working class. And therefore, the more localized it is, the more centralized it becomes and the more aligned it is with real factors. Yeah, so with that, we make some modulated thinking embedded into our outline that it's good for all of us as stakeholders to understand land in dynamics. As I would like to quote it from the Atharvaveda, Mata Putro Pitaro Adivaya. The earth is our mother and we should walk with human feet on our earth. So that as we take care of it, it takes care of us. With that I close and thank you very much for listening. You've been a good audience.
Thank you so much, sir, for making the case for 21st century agile industry-led curriculum. Professor Narayan.
You have a presentation, right?
Yeah. Since our next speaker, Professor Pathak, will be making a presentation, the president of the board.
very difficult to overshadow his presentation because he has really given all the numbers that why we require land literacy. Something similar happened with us when Mr. Pranab, who is in charge of this whole conference which is happening right now, we invited him for a guest lecture and we thought that okay, it's interesting work what he is doing, and we really don't know anything about it, right? Because I'm a GIS guy, got trained in surveying and whatnot, but then I never thought it was really linked to land mapping ever because I'm trained doing GIS for environmental studies, so I never thought land as an issue. But slowly what we understood while we worked for ELRE and SWAMITVA and other schemes, that we ourselves being in this academia really have no clue what we are actually doing on ground. And what he mentioned exactly is true that hardly anyone knows about their own land. They don't know how to read documents. And students which are coming out now, to give you a funny example, our Flame University address is gut number so and so. Majority of the times the students' parents would come and say that, sir, you have made a mistake in your address, it should be gate number so and so. And we have to tell them that no, this is a way we demarcate the land parcel and this is where our university is, right? And I'm pretty sure many of our staff members would also know that this is what it means. So, we are there to teach, even though we may not be experts, if we are on the stage, we know how to kill 45 minutes. So, we are ready with the curriculum. So then, one of the approaches we thought that we can create something on new platform where anybody and everybody can learn something about land without paying anything, and it could be literally anybody. So we were fortunate enough to be allowed by Swayam portal to create this particular course. They liked it. There were several other applications out of which they liked this course, so we were fortunate in that sense. It's hardly 8 or 9 months since we have launched it, and there are around 1900 enrollments which we could see. And the concept was that, like me, there will be many others who would like to know about basics of land, how land is governed in at least India, and what are the intricacies of that. So we started with this. I will talk a little bit about our experience on this. So it's a non-credit course right now. So students cannot actually earn credits on this, but they can learn a little bit. There are 7 modules, which is approximately 30 to 40 minutes each module, and it is self-paced. So once you enroll, then you can continue with your own understanding, and each module will have its own reading material, will have its online references, and will have some questions at the end where you can test your understanding. So this introduction to land governance, land rights and ownership, and here you will see a large amount of things which we really in our daily life really don't consider. For example, there were sessions just before this about women and land rights and several things. Right? So we are not aware of that. So gender land rights, community land rights, so there are common lands, all these issues we have kind of introduced in this particular course. We also talk a little bit about land market and economic development. There is land and sustainable development goals. So at least at Flame, the students who are graduating from environmental studies, they are interested in stuff like carbon markets and all. But when you are thinking about those projects, land is where your projects will evolve. If you don't know anything about land, everything is hypothetical. So then we thought that okay, based on their career perspectives also, we can link land with SDGs and other projects which we are working around. So those kind of aspects we have covered. And I will present you the data. So who has been looking at our course? So 53% of the enrolled people are our students, but 47% are working people. In terms of kind of education level they have. 31% are masters, 28% are bachelor's, 3 years degree, and then there are other mix which are there. Somehow commerce related people are more in that, and I think you may resonate with that there is money, so people want to understand about that. There are some people in arts and humanities, and then science, and then it reduces as you go to other disciplines if you look at their education background. Young crowd is more, people who are in 20s and 30s, they are more enrolled than the other age groups. And kind of their fields which they are linked with, majority of them are from business administration to commerce to many others. Right? So this is a mix of the people which are taking this course. And if you look at it from which organizations they are from various organizations, from private entities, the income tax department, to smart city related people, from SET, and also people have taken this course. So it is reaching out to wider audience, and I think our next job is to understand from these people what else they would require to go ahead and have more education about land. So what we felt, we were able to create and curate a course which is simple enough to understand. It was very well structured according to us, and we were able to deliver it in a certain amount of time. And given that it is self-paced, people can take it at their leisure. The problem which we felt for offering this course to Swayam is that they have a very rigid structure, that this is how their modules should be, this is how the course content should be delivered, and so on and so forth. So I think we are going to explore a few other platforms where we can offer this and reach to better audience. And this is the feedback from some of the people who are generous enough to provide feedback, spend their time and all. So it seems like the course is interesting for them, it is easy enough for them to understand, and they are entering into something which they have never imagined that it is important for them. Now, in terms of what we are working on, and we would like to publish a white paper on that as well, but with many players in India and related to many other domains of land, what we are working on is where does this importance of land education fit in? So one, definitely land, hereditary laws, the land valuation, all those things are important, but there are many other aspects as well, and including urbanization to projects such as housing, infra, energy, logistics, everything demands land, right? So along with air, water, soil, I think land, if you think about it as a resource, it's a very constrained resource which we should understand thoroughly and definitely get educated about it, right? So there are various things, including if you are thinking about city planning, if you are thinking about housing, if you are thinking about solar and wind projects and SEZs, land is at the very basic of it. There are some statistics by National Remote Sensing Agency about how agriculture being converted into urban expansion or urban lands, and hence it emphasizes that for food, for housing, for many other things, land is crucial. Right? If you look at Land Conflict Watch website, they have mentioned in parts of India there are many people which are being affected by land issues. There are disputes, and an average time to solve those disputes is more than 30 years. That's their estimation. We are not taking credit or anything about this course, but it is, like that Amitabh Bachchan's movie where he kept waiting for his wife to die and get that property on his name. Something similar, that these cases are not easy to be judged and resolved. So there is definitely an education gap, and we being an education institute, we would like to look at it through education lens, that we do want to teach students. We may never be we may never have any other hat in our head, so to say. But we have different kinds of degrees, right? So there are law students, we have including ILS college. When we talk to them, they may have land in some of their modules, but they never understand land thoroughly, even though there are so many land laws around it, right? So they look at some litigations, something, but then the very part of land which is around them, the spatial context, the social context, many a times they are not aware of. Planning schools look at it through design angle, maybe land use angle. Engineering people definitely look at measurement, they want to survey it, but they may not understand the ground realities of it. And business people obviously look at it as an asset, but social and legal terms they may not be familiar with. So what we understood from the workshop which we took is that everyone sees land differently, and so no one understands it completely. So it's like an elephant with all blind people around it. Right? So for them, elephant is the way they feel that they can sense it. So what kind of skills we may require? One of the basic skills which we require is to read and interpret the land records. So even though there are websites which are now making the data available to everyone, can we actually go and figure out our own land records? Can we read them, how they are changing? Some of them really don't know about it. How planning maps and how to read these kind of maps, can we understand it? So even though I am a GIS person, I may not be able to really understand what those planning maps are talking about. More and more, even in his presentation, we felt like the technology aspect of it we should be aware about. If not we are expert, at least we should know which technologies we should use, what are its limitations, what are its usefulnesses. So pros and cons we should know, and we should also think about the customary rights, concepts and social dimensions. Current limitation, most of the people learn about land when they enter the borders, when you are on the job, right? There is no real skilling which happens before you enter the job, and that is the major limitation of it. What we feel is that we are trying to benchmark some of the programs which are there internationally. For example, in ILDC Netherlands, they have a program about land administration education, which covers various aspects. There are programs in Canada which not only talk about the technology, but they have land management per se, where they deal with land rights, treaty, environmental issues, environmental planning. There are other programs in other countries which talk about many other aspects which are neglected otherwise, including customary tenure, conflict resolution and land policy. So we are thinking about it, and to conclude this, where we stand is that we have really strong technical and legal expertise, but we lack integration of both of them. There is no formal degree in land administration or governance, and we require something which will impart skills, not informally but formally, to develop competencies at various levels. So I will end with this particular quote saying that, it was an interesting quote, that land is everywhere in our work except in our education. So I think we want to take it up and develop programs which are more useful. And pretty soon I think we will have one at Flame, where all the big wigs will be coming and talking to some of the participants, and we will take it from there. So thank you so much for listening. Now you can sit? Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, I'll shut that down.
Thank you so much, Professor Pathak, for your comments on the land education gap in India and Flame University's own efforts towards incrementally or perhaps interestingly but consequentially bridging that gap. Now we'll be having a panel discussion involving our two remaining speakers as well. So, Professor Narayan, if you want to share your thoughts.
Good afternoon. Let me just give a context before I would like to say what I say.
Mr. Hussain Sheikh and Mr. Prasad, they sort of, both of them made a strong case for land education in India. And Professor Prasad also has given some idea about what Yale University has been doing in that direction. So the genesis of this idea of land education in India goes back at least to 2014, when the World Bank undertook a project for a land governance assessment framework in India. So the World Bank had a framework called land governance assessment framework, and they wanted to use that framework to assess land governance in states in India. Finally, 5 states agreed, and Pranab Chaudhary was the coordinator for Odisha, and I was the coordinator for Karnataka. So after 2 years, we completed this project, and then this question arose: what next? So, in response to that question, 2 answers. One answer is ILDC. So this annual conference, we thought that we have to continue our engagement with the land through an annual conference. It is modeled on the lines of World Bank's World Bank's Land and Poverty Conference, annual event. So we wanted to launch an annual event similar to that, and that's why ILDC has come into being. And the second thing, we also wanted to bring the land to education someday, because at that point in time, except for some kind of fragmented presence of land in some management courses, in some planning courses, etc., we didn't have land prominently figuring in any education programs in India. So the first step in that direction was an annual summer school program that we started in Adil University. And we have run 5 such events so far, 5 such courses, annual courses so far, summer schools so far. And then FLAME has taken it forward by launching this online course. It's an online course. And what has now happened is, earlier it used to be fragmented, now there is some kind of an integration has taken place. Now what I am going to say is some idea about how do we have to think about land as university should think, and what should be our approach to take this to the next level. So to my mind, I think integrating all these fragmented elements and packaging them as courses might not suffice. What we need to think at this point in time is to look at land possibly as a discipline. If it is not possible to look at land as a discipline, at least an area of inquiry, a systematic area of inquiry. So that is what is required at this stage, because we have to think in this country as the university should think, and not as educational institutions offering some set of courses. So now what do I mean by looking at land as a discipline? When does a discipline come into existence? When there is an unresolved question. Right? So there is a fundamental question to which there is no conclusive answer, which means the inquiry is going to be perpetual, and that would create room for discipline. So all our major disciplines are founded on this principle. So now the question is there such a fundamental question governing land? To my mind, the answer is yes. And what is that question? And as of today, I don't think we have a conclusive answer to one question relating to land. Which is, how do we negotiate, or how do we balance competing demands based on land for the purposes of development, equity, or justice, social justice, and conservation, which is environmental conservation. So competing demands are based on land on account of these 3 objectives: the growth objective, which is the welfare objective or equity objective, and the objective of environmental conservation. So how do we balance land in relation to these 3 demands? I don't think any country, any society has any conclusive answer. Therefore, this inquiry is going to be a perpetual inquiry, and which has created the need for not just programs, not just courses, but to treat land as a business. So this is the case that I would like to make in this program. So in that case, it can be elevated because this I think needs a lot of work across universities to put together or to evolve a discipline around the idea of land. Drawing from multiple social sciences, economics, sociology, and political science in particular, and maybe other humanities subjects as well. In that case, I think a program in land can be a program in liberal arts. It can be a beautiful liberal arts program. So, of course, there are skills to be acquired in relation to land. I am responding to what Hussain has said. So, he said there is a skills gap there. So, there are multiple skills to be acquired in relation to land, land management, land governance, land resource management, and so on. Well, but how many trained people would you need? I do not know. So, would it be requiring India to launch a series of courses, what is called polytechnic courses in relation to land? Maybe yes, I do not know, but it will go by the demand. But the idea of a liberal arts program is slightly different. A liberal arts program will not only deepen somebody's understanding in the area in particular, it is about land in particular, but by engaging with the land, you would also be learning a series of competencies which can be useful in multiple contexts. So when someone does a course in economics history or economics political science or sociology, all of them are not going to become economists or political scientists or sociologists. Even then they will learn or they will study these courses because engaging with those subjects will equip them with a set of competencies, and these competencies can be applied in multiple areas. So similarly, can we, whenever we elevate land as a discipline, can we launch some kind of liberal arts program around the land, around the question of land, so that universities can offer programs around land not as some kind of narrow skill-based courses, even in their integrated form, but as proper liberal arts programs. This is the question that I wanted to place before this conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Narayana, for making a strong case for land to be considered as a discipline, drawing on the principle of interdisciplinarity and intersection of various social sciences, and for land to be reconceptualized perhaps not just as a technical discipline, but as a proper liberal arts program. Our fourth speaker will now present Mr. Chan.
Thank you very much. Namaste and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Janak Joshi, and I am from Land Management Training Center, that is an institution under Ministry of Land in Nepal. So this is a government institution, especially dealing with capacity development in the sector of land management and administration, surveying, mapping, and GIS and related stream. Last year, Mr. Pranab visited Nepal and our institution, and we have very good discussions. He visited there and he requested us regarding this program and invited us here to have some sharing regarding what we have been doing to expand land literacy in Nepal. So my talk will basically focus on what we have been doing in Nepal regarding land literacy. First of all, let me very humbly inform this very elite mass that we have been running master's degree course in land administration. We are also well known about the necessity of specialized course in land administration because the situation is similar as Professor and as my friend from Landmaster already mentioned. We also do not have much land professionals who really knows land. We have land administrator. We have several other professionals related to land, like land lawyer, but they do not know about the land and the philosophy behind the land and this all land ecosystems. That is why we have initiated this program in Nepal 2019 in collaboration with Kathmandu University, my colleague from Kathmandu University is based. So this is one. We have several academic courses related to land, that is geomatics engineering, that basically focus on the technology, GIS, remote sensing and everything. And two master's degree courses. One is master's in land administration and another is master's in geoinformatics. Similarly, some other long-term professional courses that solely run by the government, the land management training center. And this is related to the academic course and academic courses offered by the joint collaboration of government in collaboration with the academic institutions, but at the same time, Land Management Training Center is conducting several professional short-term courses. Around 31 different courses we have, as Professor just mentioned, some of the courses. The similar nature of the courses, but most of the courses focuses on the capacity development of the professionals working in the government, that are land professionals, surveyors, and so on. Since last years, we have some elaborated and some expanded of our course delivery and our services. We expanded this to the different other sectors, the multi-sectoral environment in the government. What we felt that, as mentioned earlier, most of the court cases related to land or land-based resources, they are based on. But the disputes in the courts or the society, that takes quite long to get resolved. That is because of the land education and its lacking in such professional organization, even in the courts. So we have a very innovative course for district level judges or the other legal professionals. Those are working in the issues of litigating these kind of land related issues. So we conduct the several dedicated course for lawyers and the judges. Similarly, what we see in local level, most of the people, their livelihood depends on the land. Land is not only the technical issue that I already mentioned. These are several multifaceted dimensions. It's emotional issues, it's social issues, cultural issues. Even the people used to worship the land and land-based resources, natural resources. By the way, many of you have already watched Kantara. Yeah. So there you can see the one of the case very nicely shown and illustrated. So this is very multifaceted discipline that land is involved. Therefore, these disputes in the society which are caused by the land, we started the course for the mayors, deputy mayors, or other these local government employees or the professionals or the authorities who have been working in the local government. Because in Nepalese local governance system, the first entry point for these kind of litigation to be resolved is the judicial committee in local government. But these local government officials do not have much idea on that. That is why we initiated these kind of courses for local level government. But at the same time, the government officials work for the community, and community again may not have much good land literacy. And we initiated separate program for land literacy for the community. What we did is we selected several these volunteers from different community, and we trained them as a master trainer. We have a dedicated course for those master trainers. These master trainers went to the districts or levels, and they, in their district, they select several volunteers from different communities. And those master trainers went to the community leaders. And those community leaders provide the land literacy program in the community. So what we see, the effect of these trainings for trainers and those trainers in the community is getting more aware about land rights, their roles and responsibility on the land. Because most of the times we only talk about the land rights, but not the restrictions imposed on the land and the responsibility of the different stakeholders on the land. So these three R's at a time, rights, responsibility and restriction on the land, is being trained or get aware to the community, local government and other stakeholders. So what we see, this initiative creates a big, some awareness raising campaign, and it is working good as per the suggestions or the feedback we are receiving from these different community or the community members or the local government. And we are asked to expand our program to different communities and different local governments as well. Because as a government institution, we have a limited approach. We are based in the Kathmandu, the center, the capital of the Nepal. But in each and every local level, we have 753 local governments. We cannot reach individually all of these local governments. So we are collaborating with different agencies like NGOs or the local community or others to take this program further in the community. At the same time, what we are doing, another initiative is developing e-learning platform, as Sir just mentioned. Yeah, I'm just wrapping up. So this e-learning platform, we have uploaded different course materials and some documents which will be helpful to people to understand their issues, their rights, and what they can get from these movements. So I stop myself here, and maybe if you have questions, I will come back to you. Thank you very much.
So, thank you, Mr. Janak, for a very useful overview of the various levels of capacity building initiatives that you have gotten going in the Nepalese context. We can please ask our questions.
I'm B.K. Agarwal. So I congratulate Mr. Professor Pathak for starting that course, and you gave me also the opportunity to record 2 lectures. And then Professor Narayan. So you have been organizing the summer school. I have also been part of that. So it's very interesting because I also always feel that something should come in the educational institution. Because I always say that land sector is too important to be left to the government only. So there should be a lot of research, academic dialogue, so that this system can be improved. Which I see in European countries and USA, then you get to read a lot of research papers from the professors about the land act or system. In India, the system has not done that. That is true that the dilemma is there because law department sees land in a different manner, management also sees in different manner. But Professor Narayan, you have a very, very interesting idea that it should be part of liberal arts. So what do you think actually? At present, we see that courses around the world, land administration or land governance or land economics or land laws. So what do you think? Like, you think that all these things should come? Course should be a land or land administration or land governance, and what kind of content? Broadly, what kind of content it will be there?
Yeah. So the imaginary discipline of disciplinary imagination of land would mean that we treat it as a discipline like, let us say, political science, sociology or economics. Of course, it cannot be one of them because these are the parent disciplines. Let us say public policy. How public policy or public administration emerged. Public administration emerged from political science. And public policy emerged as an intersection of economics and politics. Similarly, can land as a, not as a parent discipline but as a sub-discipline emerge as an intersection of sociology of land, economics of land and politics, question of politics around land. Then what should go into this discipline? What are the various thematic lines of inquiry we need to think about it. But in case we can elevate this to that level, then we can offer a bachelor's program, a liberal arts bachelor's program in land studies. That will bring together everything that needs to be learned under the rubric of land. That's one. Second, we can also bring together the skills and the perspective element together. Now, what happens in a discipline is, let us take economics. Economics has a skills part and economics has a perspective part, right? So, applied part and inquiry part, and applied part and perspective part. Now, I think land is rich enough as an area of inquiry to imagine it much more than what we are imagining at present. At present, we think that, okay, let us equip people with this skill, that skill. As Mr. Janak also said, it's not just the question of skill. I think there is much more in terms of relationship between mankind and land, which lends itself into a deeper inquiry than what we are collectively imagining.
Ma'am at the back. Ma'am, you have a hand up for questions? Yes. No, sorry. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you very much for this overwhelming vision from the ILDC and of course the Private University and some training institute from Nepal has very well designed about the land administration. You of course are very, but now my question is there is in generalized manner and it's open for all respective panelists. Have you ever thought about the blockchain management for land parcels or any ideas for the future?
I think it will be discussed in a separate, in another panel because it relates to how technology is used to govern land. And there's a long history. So we have a history of 30 years now. So right from the computerization of basic land records called RTCs, today I think we have made much advances, including the use of blockchain. I think Mr. Dikya Agarwal.
I got one of the things to add to this.
Yeah.
Actually, your question should be that what technology can improve land administration or services relating to land to the people. Your question should not be, I'm not saying you because the Supreme Court is talking about. Our question should not be why not blockchain. Our question should be what technology. Because objective is to improve land administration. So who is giving this solution that blockchain will improve land administration? No one has investigated it.
No.
We are not investigated even problems of the people. So how we are giving solution? 15 years back, a conclusive title was giving a solution without knowing the problems of the people. It has fallen flat. No state could implement it. So now the term is being coined blockchain. Who has said that blockchain is relevant on land administration? First we have to investigate. So question should be what can improve our land administration? Second question may be that what technology can improve our land administration?
Actually, after all, if there are more pros, then there is no more pros than other than pros.
What?
She said there are more advantages than of using blockchain.
Why we are discussing blockchain? That I don't understand.
Even if we accept that blockchain is just an element from the larger gamut of technologies that can be employed to improve land management.
We have to discuss land administration. We have to discuss services to the people. We have to discuss problems of the people. If blockchain comes across as a solution, then we should study blockchain. We should not talk about blockchain. First, who has given this solution? Supreme Court has not given solution. Supreme Court probably in its frustration has told the government do something. And they knew that term blockchain, they are going to blockchain.
Very short response.
Yeah, Mr. Jared wants to.
Very short response, as you just interested. We don't use and we don't consider blockchain as a solution for this land-related administration and government. But of course, we have been using like the GIS or the drone or high-resolution satellite images or the LiDAR scanners, these state-of-the-art technologies for land mapping and registration.
And another fact, only one small country in the world, Georgia, has done something to relate land administration with the blockchain. None else, not of your top 10, 15 or 20 economies. Just forget about it. Forget about it.
Anyway, there is a separate session on the question of technology and land administration.
We have about 5 minutes, so we can take a quick round of questions.
I have a very small point. You named a number of disciplines. I really like the idea of the liberal arts approach. But geography, probably the discipline that actually.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. I forgot one. Sorry.
Integrates the whole kind of ideas from sensing.
Exactly.
Is it possible?
Yes, sir.
So I just wanted to highlight multiple things about teaching a land course. You're thinking in a very recent reasons why you should develop this course, but actually there is a entire trend around the world. Earlier on, the world was basically very vast. We were small, humans were small. Now humans are huge. The world has become small, and this tension is really the reason why land should be a part of curriculum, and specifically in the South Asian context. If you want to design any course, you should design the context which is going to take place between urbanization and agriculture and forestry. And all courses should be designed around this factor, at least from just the land understanding perspective. So when you design a course, probably take, and with respect to Mr. Agarwal's question about research, I spent a lot of time doing land research for the whole world, including India and the United States. And in the United States, data is more easily available. I asked many people, government people over here also, and all the personal information is trade secret, government secret.
Legally, it is public document.
It is,
But all these systems have not been developed to share.
and I asked Mr. Janak also, to Mr. Joshi, and the same problem, it is a state secret. So, I mean, you will teach the students, but it is a state secret. And what will you do? How will you study? Then you will go to remote sensing. Remote sensing doesn't give you any information about the parcel. You just see the land from above. So it's a very tricky problem, very difficult. Data is stored in some ways. You will train, and you should study this context. And this context is not going away. It's going to get more worse, especially in South Asia, and secondly in Sub-Saharan Africa. In other places of the world where population is decelerating, probably the tension will go away. There is land which is being lost. I mean, Europe and Russian Federation, etc. The land is just fallow. Nobody there. Villages are all empty. Over here, it's totally different context is taking place. You should teach those contexts.
Yeah. So as of now, we have artificial intelligence, but we don't have artificial land. So that's
But I think one thing we all esteemed panelists thought land is a discipline of history. Every moment you read history, land is
There's a
not
fight
over.
over land. There is fight over land, not land.
Even land law, land regulation, everything you have to go to history. It's like 30 years back land conference means history of land conference. Registration is history of land. Everything is history. Fight, yeah, history of.
But in the educational field, discussional field, it should not only be in the after the graduation. It should also come into the
Literary part of it.
Literary part, because I will after medical or after this, I will not be going pursuing such courses. But even in the school curriculum and then every courses, it has to come. What are the documents? Like we learn history, we are learning geography and science, but we are not learning land. In case if you ask a 12th standard what is land, he does not know what the document is. He is a layman to that. But something on that should, one chapter on that should be included. Just an intro to that, more than that point.
I mean, inside to everyone, every citizen of the country, but even in corporations, or even in the urban schools, 50,
I think you both can start at least a 2 credit or 3 credit course, which can be taken by law students also, which can be taken by medical students also. That is a good beginning. I think you are doing something about it. And and that Ajim Premji University also, you will start this thing.
We are almost out of time. One final question, comment.
So,
Yes.
so I'm also interested in these geospatial things. So thank you for this. To answer your question, I'm itself from Azim Premji University. So they do have this GIS thing ongoing from this year only. That is MSc Climate Change and Sustainability. So they do teach all of these things, geospatial techniques, how we can use all of them to monitor all the land things and all. But I have a question for this. So other day I was studying a paper and presenting it as well. It was showing that how we can use these geospatial techniques in addressing and monitoring the SDGs. In that thing, and you have also put this thing in your course, I guess. So in that thing, there was a question of that we are still not addressing SDG 5, 10, 8, 12, 9 and 17 with the help of this geospatial technique. So if land is related to people, this should include how can we monitor gender inequality, how can we monitor the reduction in inequality and all. So like he said that we can physically see land with these techniques, we can physically see all the stuff, but how to see all those social terms with the help of geospatial techniques and how to monitor all of them accordingly. If you can, yeah.
I think as he mentioned that parcels are still a secret. I think it's not secret, it's just that we don't have enough technology to put it out there so that we are confident enough about our data quality. And also what we are representing is true to ground. Right? So that aspect is still in progress. There are various government offices which are trying for that. But also if you see in the US there is a very nice database called as Tapestry database. I don't know if anyone of you guys have used it. What it does, it at a neighborhood level, it will give you an understanding of what kind of population lives there. So it's used by the government to take many decisions, including what kind of a store should be opened in that place. So that level of understanding and mapping we should do so that our country could benefit. But at this moment, I think we are still in a very baby stage of creating those geospatial databases for ourselves. So we will reach there someday hopefully. And I think land literacy would also lead to some of those aspects.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rounds in this session. 37 लिख दिया सॉरी ऑफ हो गया